That's right, y'all. That means Midway Radio is back. And we have, I'm not even going to get into it because I know Risky wants to get into it more than I do. So we're just going to go ahead and say Mr. Willie Chainsaw Wrice is here with us today.
Thank you.
The legendary.
Hang on.
Uh-oh. Where's our studio audience? Where's all the hundreds of people in our rooms?
Willie Wrice Sr. Chainsaw.
That's what's up.
Welcome, sir. How are things?
Everything good, man. Everything good. Just doing what I do.
Nice. And we're going to get into doing
exactly what you're doing. Yep.
But first, we're going to go ahead because he just can't wait to get on the microphone. Mr. Chad Reese.
What's up, everybody?
I'm not going to say anything.
Now I'm gonna be quiet.
We're a little hard-headed. That's DJ Sean Doe.
What up, everybody?
What up, Sean? And dude that put it all together, Mr. Ryan Brockmeyer.
I am here as well.
Well, hello.
What's up, everybody?
Hello, sir.
And you're back, sir.
I am back. I took a little bit of time off. Little family things happening, and all good stuff though. All good stuff.
Yeah.
So now
stuff.
We are back, y'all. But I'm gonna need an update. We need a sound effect for update, like do 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 do.
Is that updating?
That's it.
That's the update sound. Oh my god.
And now Walter Cronkite.
Like the news desk or something.
We didn't promise the production value on this show.
Listen, hey. We told you guys we are on a shoestring budget.
Well, before we do a quick update, we do have somebody checking in already. Coolie Mac says, "What's up, Chainsaw?" He's
that's my guy. Yeah, tell him I said what's up. That's my guy.
Legendary Coolie Mac, also featured in Midway.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah.
Wait, I'm sorry. No, that was. Are we talking Quicksilver Coolie or Coolie Mac? DJ Coolie Mac.
Mac Boogaloo, DJ Coolie Mac.
Oh, okay. Yes. No, we want to reach out. I've spoken to Coolie Mac. What up, Coolie Mac? Quicksilver.
I will say I went to the Dark Matter Coffee, their 10-year anniversary party on Saturday.
How was that?
It was cool. Hung out with DJ Intel and Maker for a little bit. GQ showed up, and Z-Trip. Hung out with Z-Trip for a little bit. Cool guy. I had not met him before. It was cool, and I bring that up just because we're about to go into a promotional mixtape series with Dark Matter, so everybody needs to keep an eye out on that here in about a month or so. Those will be released. We're gonna have we're gonna have a release party and do some cool stuff with this. So be on the lookout for that. As far as other updates, that's kind of all that we've got. It's actually been a pretty quiet week, so we're just doing things behind the scenes. We're trying to get more vignettes done. We're getting ready to get back into interviews and a few other things. So so I mean that's what's that?
Speaking of interviews.
And I do want to say too, at the top of the hour, let me pull my. Sorry, didn't have that prepared.
I think we need to point out something.
Yeah.
Speaking of interviews, are we done doing interviews?
We are not. We are not
done
doing interviews.
But we've reached out to a bunch of people. and we have a bunch of people on schedule.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you say to people that are saying, "Hey, I missed out"?
I'm going to say that you have not missed out.
Thank you.
So anybody. I mean, there's been some people that we talked
Nice
to.
setup, Carlos.
It was a very nice setup. There's been people that we've talked to very early on in the process that we haven't interviewed yet for whatever reason. This is
Scheduling.
they're coming. Scheduling is one of the bigger things of it. So if we've told you that we're going to interview you, please rest assured that is going to happen. And to date, we've done 206 interviews, and we're still going. So we'll get to we're going to get back into the swing of things, into a regular mode of interviews here in a few weeks. So until then.
And if you have been interviewed and you're talking to someone that says, "Hey, I missed out. Those guys didn't interview me," please do us a favor of saying, "Please reach out to Midway."
Yep.
We still got a little ways to go. Ryan just put a post up on Facebook explaining the process of what it takes in making an actual feature-length documentary and the time frame. And I think that was a very generous time frame, especially considering that our project's actually quite a bit larger than the average documentary. So
with a lot less budget.
With zero budget, right? And whatever budget we put into it out of our pockets. But that being said, I personally think we're way ahead of schedule for what we've done. We've done, again, how many interviews? 205?
206.
206, and how many people have we interviewed?
As far as individual people?
Yeah.
I think it's 370 something.
So 370 people interviewed. The documentaries interview normally like 20 people. We've interviewed 370 people so far, and we've done that. We've been working on the film. You said we just passed kind of the 3-year mark, right?
Yep.
Just past the 3-year mark, and the first almost year of that was spent in pre-production before any filming. In fact, some of our early interviews we did film, we've now gone back and refilmed because we tightened up the process and wanted to make sure that the quality was the same throughout.
Yeah, exactly. So, if you're watching us on YouTube live right now, you can obviously interact with us through YouTube. You can interact through us through the Facebook post. We're also coming at you live Midway on Facebook Live. So if you're doing that, roll on over to midwaydocumentary.com/midway-radio, and you can check that out too. And we'll be doing some other things with but right now we're in the middle of this interview, so you can only hear me, which is probably a little bit weird, trying to do two things at once. The one thing that I will say too is that that post was to also hopefully spark a little interest in getting people to the two biggest things that we can ask for the people that we've interviewed too, but just in the general community, kind of everybody, is to help us by sharing on social media. It's actually kind of surprising the amount of people that we've interviewed and that we've talked to who are not actually following us on social media, are not have not liked the page, or not following us on Twitter. So if you're watching that, just please do that. Share the occasional post, if not a little bit more. We appreciate that. And if you're so inclined, please share with your fans and everybody who's following you, ways that they can help support us financially as well, because we're currently completely self-funded, and that's been like that for over 3 years now. And myself and the team, I mean, we've dedicated a lot of time and talent and everything else. I even left my full-time job, 3 years ago to do this full-time. And projects of this size can cost into the hundreds of thousands of dollars to produce. So to do this on a shoestring budget is very difficult, to say the least. So any help that we can get from you guys, friends, family, fans, everybody, it helps. Any little bit helps with covering the cost of gas and the cost of parking for interviews, because we do a lot of our interviews downtown. So that's not cheap.
That adds up for sure.
We need additional hard drive space. We need additional storage. We need, web hosting, promotional efforts. Like there's tons. That's before we even get into like post-production and all that kind of stuff. So go to the website, midwaydocumentary.com, and there's a couple different ways that you can choose to to help us out, you can either do a one-time donation through PayPal, or you can set up a monthly or reoccurring thing through Patreon. Patreon.com.
And for the record, we take Portillo's gift cards.
We gotta eat too.
We do.
So, and I just want to state, while Ryan states all that, I do have to say, we have gotten great support from a lot of people as well, who continue to constantly support. So I just want to just shout out the fact that we've gotten ridiculous support from people who constantly support us in any way they can. So.
Oh, absolutely. This wasn't meant to call out anybody, but
no, I know you weren't. I just wanted to make sure we add that on top. Like,
except for you, that one dude that said, you know who we're talking about. Not just playing. I wanted to see people get uneasy.
But one thing to get into this conversation, Chainsaw, you recently wrote a book on the history of Ill State, so congratulations on that release.
Thank you. Thanks.
I have not personally read it yet, but I'm looking very forward to doing that. So I have. So before
this guy,
because Risky's holding.
I did it.
But I will, I want to say before we get into more specific stuff with you, just generally between like what you're doing and what we're doing with Midway, kind of what was your thoughts behind wanting to put a book together, and why is it important to kind of capture that history, whether it's written as you did, and maybe you can talk into how you went about writing it. Is it strictly, from your view, how, because there's a lot of people involved in Ill State and Chicago history, and then maybe tie that into kind of what what we're doing, which is just like preserving, Chicago hip hop.
And that's basically it. What I'm saying? Preserving Ill State, position in Chicago hip hop, because we did a lot. What I'm saying? We actually did a lot. And we did it from the heart, what I'm saying? And I always wanted to write a book about Ill State, for a long time. I've been wanting to write a book about Ill State. But the whole thing is, when I wrote this book, it was basically mostly from my perspective of Ill State. What I'm saying? That's why I said Our Time, My Story, because it's more of my story. If I wrote it about Ill State, then I had to involve everybody that dealt with Ill State. And that would take some time, and when I wrote the book, it was just basically one day I always thought about it, but one day, it was just a epiphany or something. I just sat down and just started, hitting on the keyboards, and next thing I know, I'm just steady going, and I was told, when I told only a couple of people, because I know if I would have told too many people as far as on the Ill State side, everybody would have wanted to put their 2 cents in it. Mm-hmm. And that's too many cooks, what I'm saying, stirring the pot. And I just really want to just get focused and just put certain things in there that I knew I wanted to say. Yeah. And just like I tell them, what I'm saying, because I got a couple of guys are saying, well, you ain't say this and say that. And I'm like, well, write your book and you can add that in there. Basically, I'm not mad at you. I prefer all of y'all to write a book, because you might see something from your way that I didn't see. But I'm giving you my perspective. What I'm saying? And to do this to help cement, Ill State in Chicago hip hop, man, it's a big thing, because, we got a lot of roots with a lot of people that we dealt with, and even, the ones who got on and all that, even though Ill State didn't, we got large stars in the Chicago arena and, things like that. But the guys who surpassed that, came through Ill State one part of their life, before they got to where they got at. So I just want to make sure, I leave something back, and not just for Chicago and all this and like that, for something for my kids, for my kids to see. That, even though at times I was running the streets, this and that, it was just not just running the street for no reason.
Absolutely. Let me, I was going to say really quick, the way you said, okay, so you wrote this from your perspective. And I mean, obviously it's the title, Our Time, My Story. And that's exactly how that's exactly how it read. And I thought that was really smart, since it's such a huge crew. You were telling from your perspective, and that way nobody can get anything twisted because it's literally just your stories. But
Exactly.
it includes, you know, and you are a founder of Ill State, so it goes from it's cool because it starts from the very beginning of Ill State and takes you through your eyes. Now, I sat down, I ordered the book from Amazon, got it in the mail in 2 days because, you know, I got Prime.
I think that's an important. I think that's an important. That's an important note. It's available on Amazon.
Yes, in physical copy, and if just in case, again, if you don't see it, it's right here, physical pages. It's a real book. So I got it. I sat down and I read almost half of it the first day. Like, I was flying through it. It's funny because my intentions when I sat down, Carlos, I'm telling you, I sat down and my intentions were, all right. So every morning when I wake up, my routine is I wake up and I'll usually like read a comic book to start off my day, right? Because I'm a big comic book guy. So I'll start off, I'll read a comic book. I said, oh, I got this book. I'm going to read this book. So I'll read 2-3 chapters and then start my day. You know, I like to read in the morning. And I got up and I couldn't put it down. I just kept reading. And I'm like, okay, here's the next chapter, here's the next chapter, here's the next chapter. And it was going quick. And then I had to go to the store. I go to the store and I call Shane. And I'm like, dude, I can't put this book down.
Shane said, wash your hands, you sticky bastard.
So, yeah. And then I came home, I read a couple more, and then I basically finished it in 2 days. Read the rest of it the next day. And then immediately I had a ton of questions, but you know, but I really liked the perspective and all the stories, and I knew some of the stories from when we interviewed you, and it was cool to kind of see them how you wrote it out and you know, you described it very well. It was a very good, it was well written. Stories were good. And I really like that you kind of really, you know, here's something that's cool too. So again, I always express how unique Chicago is, right? And if you go to the back of the book, there is, what it says?
Ill State terminology.
Ill State terminology. So he's got all the terminology that he uses in the book. So you read it, and if you're Chicagoan too, I mean, anybody can read this from anywhere that loves hip hop and understand everything, and you'll basically get it. But as a Chicagoan, you really connect to this if you grew up in Chicago hip hop because you wrote it in using Chicago terminology, right. And it connected immediately with me.
Like what's an example of some of the terminology? Like blue line, red line?
No. No. Let me see here. Well, you know, one thing we talk about in the film a little bit is the use of the word Joe, which is a very Chicago thing. And it's funny because you explain a little bit of an origin in your book about that I don't think I ever knew.
Right.
And you say it stemmed really originally that you feel it stemmed from the Ida B.
Right, from the low end, Ida B. Wells, where I was born and raised. You know, because it was the guys around there, you know, the folks guys. I ain't gonna just say folks, but you know, the Ida B. Wells in general. You know, they used to have back then, like in the 80s, they'd be like, "What up, Charlie?" You know what I'm saying? "What up, Joe?" You know, they even said things like that. You know what I'm saying? "What's up, Stoney?" and all this and all that. But Riot actually the one who brought the terminology towards Ill State. You know what I'm saying? And Riot used to say Joe so much that it couldn't do nothing but catch on between everybody else and Ill. You know what I'm saying? So if everybody was saying it as a joke at first when Riot used to say Joe, even though I knew where Riot got it from and where it came from, where we grew up at. You know, they were saying it for a joke at first, but then it went from a joke to actually just use it as, you know, a term of like, "What's up, Joe?"
It became everywhere. They wrote, I mean, Soldiers at War put out a song called "What's Up, Joe?"
Right.
I mean, it went everywhere. And then, you know, you have, you about Illa and the use of the word, people using Illa and how that I guess like almost as a suffix to a name, right?
Right.
So how that would work. You know, obviously the use of the word civilian in relation to your group.
Right.
You know, there's, you know, the breakdown of ISA, Infinite Skills Always, and ISA and Ill State Assassins.
Right.
You know, all these, there's tons of different words in here. And then you can go in the book and then back if you don't understand something, check it out. But it really, like, I felt like I was, you know, when you get immersed in a record, in an Ill State record, and it takes you somewhere because it's, you guys really told stories well when you wrote rhymes. You know, it took you somewhere, and the book kind of brought me right back to that same place that I was there listening to that. But now it's like I'm getting that behind the scenes, and it was really cool, like the way, you know, how you broke down and went from each part of the story, but then you kind of came back in some parts and it crossed over. But it was well written. It was put together well, and it was a good read. It wasn't something overwhelming. It took forever either. It was right to the point. And it was good. Like, it kept my interest, and that's it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I got a lot of people who actually said that to me, say it really caught their interest, you know, and all this. You know, this is my first time ever writing a book, you know, so I took it as, when I used to write rhymes, that's how I put it in the book form, you know, and I try to capture that. I try to, you know, I picture everything in my mind, excuse me, before I say it, you know, and then and everything. So that's basically what I did when I wrote the book.
You did an amazing job.
Thank you.
So you say you went about it when, you know, like how you write rhymes. Did you do any research prior as far as how to, like, structure, how to put together, or did you just kind of just start writing and it kind of went where it went?
At first, I started just writing, and then I started looking at other authors, you know, because I'm like, if I'm gonna take it seriously, I got to take it seriously all the way. I don't, excuse me. You know, it's just like a toy rapper. You know what I'm saying? Don't come in here with, you know, BS at everybody, bullshit everybody. If you're gonna be a real rapper, know the history, know something. You know, don't just come in here thinking because you put a few words together, you finna come in here and everybody finna praise you like you Rakim or something. You know what I'm saying? You don't even know who Rakim is or something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I didn't want to do the book community like that. You know, I didn't want to just write something and just say if they get a whiff of it, like, who, you know what I'm saying, this dude ain't never wrote a book in his life. So I started writing the book, and then I started Googling and, you know what I'm saying, different authors, you know, reading stuff, reading some of their literature and things like that, and how to structure the book and this and that, you know. Some of it bored me because it was like, you know, but most of it was helpful. So, yeah, that's
well, you take what you need.
With you know, doing that.
When you're learning, you kind of sometimes take what you need because everybody learns and absorbs information in their own way, right? So, like,
exactly.
You know, like, some people need to sit and study a manual left and right and understand something, and some people just sit at the MPC and just have to hit buttons. They'll never once read the manual. They have to actually make a song to learn it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, and that's what I went off on, because this one, I can't remember the author name, but she said she never listened to Stephen King. Stephen King, I believe that's his name.
Sure.
She said the only reason I don't listen to him, she said, not because he's famous and this. She said I don't listen to him because his journey of what he write is not what I write. You know what I'm saying? So he can't tell me. She said, I like to write crime. He like to write horror. So how his horror gonna dictate the way I write?
Yeah.
You know, and that really stuck to me. I'm like, yeah, that's good thinking. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm sitting here reading what they saying. I'm like, but it's not really jamming with what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? I'm writing about hip hop. You know, so I started trying to get into people who wrote about hip hop. You know, trying to like Prodigy and Jay-Z, who wrote a book and all this and all that. I'm trying to figure that out, you know, how to go about it. So, you know, and I just basically went that way. And then once I was done, you know, I went over it a million times to the point where the book got on my nerves. You know what I'm saying? Trying to make sure it's right and everything. Because, you know, I didn't have no proofreader, you know, because I looked up proofreaders. They getting paid for every word and every sentence. And I'm like, man, I ain't got guys. So I just set my computer to spell check, this and that, what I'm saying, and did what I had to do to, to get it done. And that's what I basically did. I said, man, I'm just have to do it, the poor man way and get it done,
Oh, you got it done.
That just fits the Chicago story, because we hear this all the time. Like, if you're not from Chicago, you better be careful when you're dealing with Chicago folks, son, because we figured it out.
Right.
You wrote a book. You wrote a book just because you wanted to.
Exactly. I was like, I'm gonna figure it out. I figured it out. So, and then I went from there. Then next thing I know, I couldn't even stop writing. I then wrote 4 or 5 other books that I'm putting out.
Wow, amazing. What's the concept behind the other books? What are they?
Well, the other books. Not to interrupt. The other books is more fiction.
Sure.
Like the next one I'm gonna put out is called Carissa Vault. It's about this female criminal. That get tied into a big drug ring that she wasn't trying to get tied in, and she got to find her way out of it. It's actually a 3-part series with that one that I wrote.
Look at you.
The next book I wrote, it was I got to remember the names of it.
Harry Potter.
Well, I can't think of the titles. Okay, one is called Invincible.
No worries.
Invincible Influence. Invincible Influence, and that's actually about that's going to be more on the Chicago story. A gangbanger and his girlfriend. Trying to get out. And everything. They met each other when they was younger. Then when they got older, they bumped heads again. And he a smart dude, and he just using the gang to get through what he got to get through. He got bigger plans than just being on the street. So,
Chicago always the setting?
Yeah, Chicago's the setting. It's actually a four-corner hustler. The guy's a four-corner hustler, and he's off the east side of Chicago, and he's just trying to basically get out. Basically just get out of that way, because he's a smart dude and just using the game to get through what he got to get through every day. And if he make it, he make it. He don't.
Mm-hmm.
Really quick, I want to say, and I'm not sure if you're aware, or maybe you are aware, but I also recently read, and I've mentioned this before, we have another Chicago MC who is a contemporary of yours as well, who did write his biography, and it was another really good book, the rapper Ferilla G.
Okay, Ferilla G.
And Ferilla G, yeah, and he wrote a book called True Gold. He spent the last 13, 14 years in prison, and then he wrote mostly about his experience prior to going to prison, being, a hustler and being a rapper, and how he was trying to maneuver both, and how he was using both to, move forward in life, in a positive way. So, and then, how he ended up getting caught up in the whole, he went to jail, I think, in 1992, and then he's been there since. So it kind of derailed everything for him. But now he came out and wrote this book, and it was an amazing book as well. And I think it's just dope that some people are starting to grasp the concept of our own history and starting to write it down.
Exactly.
And that's what we're trying to push,
Right. And I got a few inboxes, once I had completed the book, and once it came out, from a few, Chicago hip hoppers, congratulate me on the book, but wondering how could they write their own book, and I just told them, every day you think of something that, you went through, personally or with your peoples or whatever, and just write it down. Whatever come to your mind that has something to do with whatever you want to, deal with, write it down. To the point where I said, don't worry even about, putting it in place yet. Just write it down. And then when you get enough pages where then you can start seeing here, and then you can start placing things here and there, because that kind of happened to me with, when I wrote my book, I skipped some things, and then I had to go back like, damn, this happened back then. I think that's real important to say. So, you know, I mean, it was my first time, you know what I'm saying? I you know what I'm saying? I'm blessed that I was able to accomplish it, and I'm really blessed that you know, everybody that read it so far, you know, and I love honest opinions, you know what I'm saying? Like I told people, I don't care how long we've been knowing each other, you know what I'm saying? Just tell me the truth. Don't have me looking stupid out there. Right. You know what I'm saying? If you read the book, you know what I'm saying? If you say, hey, you know, this and this and that, I don't, this what it say it. Don't be just saying because we buddies. I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how it was when it came to music. You know what I'm saying? We in the studio, don't just sit here and say, that's dope. This and that, this and that. You know it ain't dope. But then we put it out there and then everybody looking at us crazy like, I know them niggas didn't think that shit was dope. You know what I'm saying? So don't do that. You know what I'm saying? But so far I got one feedback from one of our Ill State of Science. He said, my guy, Big Rap, he told me, I told him that the part in there when I said we went to Austin, Texas, he said, no, we went to Dallas, Texas. Austin. You know what I'm saying? That one part, I like everything but that one part. You said Austin and we was Dallas. And I'm like, and I couldn't say it. I'm just looking at him like, really? I remember Austin because I remember we were saying Austin all this time, and now he's just talking about Dallas. It could have been in Dallas, and you guys thought it was Austin the whole damn time. Exactly. No offense to Dallas, but guess what? Texas looks the same everywhere. Exactly. But the thing is, his DJ is actually from Austin, Texas. And that's where we was at. So I'm sitting here like, where you get Dallas from? So I just left it alone. Okay, I said, well, that's the mistake I made, man. You know, I just left it alone. But other than that, you know what I'm saying, I've been getting a lot of love for it. Well, you can correct it on the next edition. Right, exactly. I can retract that.
So our host Carlos here also has his own podcast, Sketch Zone. Plug. How long have you been doing that show, Carlos?
2.5 years.
2.5 years. So that's called Sketch Zone. Everybody should check that out when they can. But one of the cool things about Sketch Zone is that they like to get into kind of like the behind the scenes creative process of a lot of the artists and stuff that they have on there. So I guess for you, what's your kind of creative process as far as like putting these stories and stuff like that together? Do you kind of carry around a notebook and write down any ideas that jump in your head? Do you focus on, trying to finish one thing at a time? What's kind of your thought process as far as like getting these ideas for stories and stuff into onto the page?
I got a notepad in my phone. So when I carry my phone, if I'm happen to be out and something catches my mind or my attention to something, or I probably just see somebody in the store and they'll do something, and it'll be relatable to what I was writing, and I'll write it down in my notepad. You know what I'm saying? But I'm a guy that always like to watch TV. You know what I'm saying? I've always been a TV fiend, and always watch programs. You know what I'm saying? And in Ill State, they'll tell you, as much as I used to watch TV back then, I used to bring it to real life. You know what I'm saying? I'll say something off of TV that's, just that'll fit the conversation we just happen to be saying, and then, that type of thing. So it's basically just watching shows, and sometimes I'll be sitting there watching the show and it'll just make me want to write something. Especially if it's something good, and I'm sitting there watching, or if I'm hearing something, or just happen to be on social media or something, and I read a story, and like, man, that sounds like a book. The way they talk like, hey,
right there, son.
It's gotta be a beautiful book. So, it's just everyday life, man. Everyday life. You guys had a lot of.
I think you. Hang on. Let me get in this because I think. Real quick, it was a little quick joke that I dropped in there, but it's something that you could very easily maybe make a little bit of money off of, where you already wrote a book and people keep asking you questions on how to do this. You can help people do this, and whether or not you want to do it for money, I don't know, but yes, to get the story out. You've done it. You're like you started something, and now not everyone has to go to someone who doesn't fully understand the culture. They can come to you, and you can help them, coach them through.
Exactly, and I wouldn't have no problem with that. No problem. And like you say,
and Carlos only takes 15%, so
I got you, brother.
Willie Wrice Senior author workshop.
I got you.
So let me ask you this real quick. Once the book was done, and you touched on this earlier, where you wanted to leave a little something for your kids. Is he still there?
Yeah,
I'm here.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. You wanted to leave a little something for your kids. After the book was published, did you just go into all your kids' rooms and drop it on their bed and be like, "Boom, told you I'm the shit"?
No, I didn't, but I did let them know, what I'm saying, that the book is and everything, because my daughter, she likes to write, and she was actually writing books before I even thought about writing this book. So when she finally did this book and finished it, and she saw the whole, the physical form of it and everything, she was very proud. She was very proud. What I'm saying? And I hope it encouraged her that, saying she could do it. Don't stop, go ahead and do it, because she likes to write a lot.
Somebody's little son is gonna come in and be like, "I did my book report on the Ill State book, Joe." Hey, so not to switch up gears, but I want
to switch up gears.
Not to do it, but to do it. I'm going to ask Sean Doe. Sean Doe, true or false, is the Chamba album one of the greatest hip-hop albums you've ever owned? Not Chicago hip-hop album. And I'm not just saying, I'm flat out saying.
But
true or false?
Out of all the albums that I have here in these in my collection, is the Chamba one of the illest?
Ever. Yes, period.
Yeah. I would agree.
Something tells me you guys practiced that before.
I would say true.
I would say true 100 times, because the Chambers album, Making Illinois, is one of the greatest Chicago hip hop albums. Anybody want to argue can fight me on it. I don't care.
So thank you.
I took that so I had the flats for the Chambers album, and I took it to college and I had it on my wall, and people be like, "What's that?" I'm like, "Let me hip y'all to this. Let me hip y'all to some Chicago shit." So yeah, I pulled many college nights schooling them dudes from Alabama about the Chambers.
Right.
I mean,
that's what's up.
Making Illinois is one of the most hardcore albums ever made in hip hop, period. I mean, that's not an exaggeration. That's not a and it's not a gangster album. It's a hardcore album. You guys talked about street stuff, a reality. It was very similar to an NWA, but very Chicago, but less, like, more real. Like, not that NWA wasn't real, but NWA was still a little bit more fantasy-ish, kind of, to me. It was still a little kind of like hyper stylized, and there was nothing more gritty and raw. I mean, it's equally as gritty and raw as 36 Chambers is, except probably more because it's more real street stories. 36 Chambers, again, was kind of like a lot of heavy written stuff, like, but not so embedded in the streets. And you and Toxic and Riot's production, I mean, unstoppable. 3 in a chamber.
Right. Thank you. Riot did most of the album. You know what I'm saying? I believe I co-produced 2 songs, and I did the last song in there, the Ill Click.
Yes.
The last song, that was me. But majority of the album was all Riot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was all Riot.
In the book, he states how he really wasn't kind of feeling his own stuff, and Riot and everybody was like, "No, it's dope. You got to do this."
Right, he's just so specific of what he wants. It's like you know what you want when you hear it in your head, and if it don't come out the way that you want it, you don't want to deal with it. It's like making a beat. If the beat ain't sounding right in your head, and you hear it in your head, but when you hit the pad, it ain't coming the way it's in your head, you don't even want to deal with it, you know, and that's how Riot was. But we had to tell him, like, man, it's cold, you know what I'm saying? That's cold right there, you know what I'm saying? That's dope right there, you know, and you know, just add this or take away that, you know what I'm saying? And you got it, you know. But you know, Ryder confident, he a real confidence dude, but at certain times, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, he you know what I'm saying? He'll be like, you know what I'm saying? He you know, he just you know how people is with their own art, you know what I'm saying?
No, he's a perfectionist. See, that's the thing, though. That's what separates him to the next level, because the same thing, he's a beast production. He's a beast in art. I mean, whatever he's doing, he's going to be, and you can't be mad at someone who wants to be perfectionist. You know, I just got done watching the Defiant ones. Nobody's really mad at Dre. You want Detox or you want this or that, but you can't be mad at him because Dre will put it out when he's ready. Same thing with Riot. You know, Riot. I mean, the Chamber album is a masterpiece to me. I mean, from Hood Thing to Hardcore Crew. Yeah, well, say a little something.
Right.
Risky right in the middle of the sentence too. Be like,
yeah, it's there's a lot, man. Hardcore Crew was a massive posse cut too. That was like the first Chicago posse cut. Talk about the recording of that, if you don't mind.
Well, that was one night. That beat was actually done by D to the S. You know, K-Tone and Trax did that beat, and we just wanted a cut with all our crew on there just snapping out. You know what I'm saying? Just snapping. You know what I'm saying? Because we hear everybody else do their posse cuts and let their crew. So we just wanted our crew to snap. We wanted to make sure they was on our album. You know what I'm saying? So that night it was a phenomenal night. You know what I'm saying? We all was there. You know, everybody made sure everybody got there. You know, everybody picked everybody up. You know what I'm saying? We got drinks. You know what I'm saying? We had got drinks, weed, and we just we were just partying that night, to take it the truth. We was just partying. You know what I'm saying? Trax and K-Tone was in the studio. People was coming in and out. You know what I'm saying? Who's next? Who's next? Who's next? You know, and that's just basically it. They pulled numbers of who going first, who going second, who going third. You know what I'm saying? So nobody came.
Oh, that's how they did it. They pulled numbers on it.
Right? Yeah, they pulled numbers out the hat. So you know who going this and that. You know what I'm saying? Divine was kind of pissed because she was last, because a lot of songs end up being last. So once again, you know, pulling and getting last is like, man, I got to be the cleanup woman again. But yeah, we just had a good time that night. You know what I'm saying? Everybody had fun. We was at CRC Studios where we recorded it, and it was just a phenomenal night, man. I remember it like yesterday. You know, we was just in there just chilling and partying. You know what I'm saying? Like Eels, they do.
What? Now I'm not going to say who has the best verse. We'll say this.
Who had the second best verse?
Who is your favorite verse?
One of my favorite verses on there, I say, had to be KX, because I like the way he kicked the song off. I like the way he kicked the song off, and I like what he was saying, because he kicked it off like how Ice Cube used to kick off the NWA songs. You know what I'm saying? Because they knew he just had the strong voice to, bam, kick it off, and KX said the right things to just kick that off. And every time when I listen to it now, I feel the same way, you know, to this day. Like, I love the way KX kicked that song off. You know what I'm saying? The way he just kicked it off and set the pace for everybody else to come behind him.
And KX was the Noisemakers with someone else, right? Who else was it?
Him and Sir Filler.
Him, Sir
Filler, Mad Billa, and I got Wreck. All four of them was Noisemakers.
Noisemakers, okay. Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions on the Chamber album, gentlemen?
No, but I was just going to say, if anybody wants a history of Ill State, look what I came across. If anybody can see that, Ill State 101 mixtape mixed by Mr. Risky Business.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that was fun to do.
What was that like? What was it like to have to carry Risky's career you'd be like, "Come on, man, you gotta, come on, son."
I was super nervous doing that, like, because I was such a fan, and I felt like a strong responsibility to making sure it was done right. And EC it was his idea, really. He was the one like, "I'm going to have you do this. Let's do this and put it together." And we were going through all the songs, and we were picking everything, getting everything together, what kind of represented everything the best. And, okay, so talk about perfectionists. EC, if anybody knows or has ever worked with EC or they've ever been around EC for anything, EC is a super perfectionist. Exactly. And the chance you're going to get it right the first time around EC is nil to none. You are going to do it 3 or 4 times. So I did that mix probably like 2 or 3 times, and then we finally. It was either it worked out or I said, "This is the last one." What did that happen? I can't remember what happened, but no, he liked it. I was happy with it. Of course, Hardcore Crew is on there, and of course, I'm like, I got to do the whole song for this, yeah, that was a pretty dope thing to do. And then Traxter mastered it for us and stuff. We did it up at Seawell, so when it was on Fairbanks. Yeah, it was dope. I'm happy to do that.
So how did Ill State come about?
Ill State came about during the 80s when we was running through running through every other crews and everything. And we ended up building a crew with Vakil, because that was one of our guys, better known. He was known as Lyric D at the time. But, Vakil and Nightmare, it was a lot of us, what I'm saying? And we started Empire of Destruction. Mm-hmm. And that was our crew. So running together, we did a lot of things together, going to rap battles, whatever. So particularly this one meeting we had, because we used to have the meetings over at Lyric D crib at Vakil's house. And we used to be in there just packed, sitting there packed, having a meeting. And that's why I said in the book, I can't actually remember what was said, but what was said at that meeting, me, Riot, Massive, and Kingdom didn't agree with. And since we didn't agree with, the majority had ruled, and they was like, well, we gonna do this anyway. You know what I'm saying? It's just y'all 4 who ain't going with it. Mm-hmm. So from us after the meeting, you had your meeting after the meeting. So, me, Riot, Kingdom, and Master, we all stay in the Adobe Wells. So we walking back to the house. So, we talking and everything to each other, this and that and this and that. And then the next morning, we woke up, and when we got on the phone with each other, we was like, you know what? We just gonna start our own crew. And that was just basically it. That wasn't the beginning of Ill State, but that was the beginning of Ill State. We didn't know it was going to be called Ill State Assassins. We just knew we was going to start our own crew. We want to find the dopest rappers in Chicago, put them under one umbrella, and then and find a name for it. Yeah. And then we went through many different names, and I don't want to say who started the name Ill State Assassins, because Kingdom and Ange 13 will argue to this day they started the name Ill State Assassins. And I can't remember which one of them said it first. So I always step back from that conversation. But I was like, I just told them whoever came up with it, I just know I loved it when I heard Ill State Assassins.
So shout to Kingdom and shout to Ange, either one.
Right, exactly. So I don't know which one started. I just know they said we representing not just Chicago, the whole state of Illinois. We're gonna be the Ill State Assassins, and I loved it. And I ran, and that was it.
That's dope. That's dope. Speaking of Empire of Destruction, I'm currently reading your book, and in it says that EC tried to be a part of Empire of Destruction.
Yeah. But this was when we already left. We already left, and we already started Ill State by now. By now, we started Ill State. So when we met EC at Smooth Sound Studio, and when we first heard EC, let me start here. When we first heard EC, DJ Sean, who ended up being an Ill State Assassin, he was the engineer up there, and he played EC's song for us. Now the song he played that was EC's. It was whack. I'm not gonna sit here and front quote EC. No, I'll tell him it was whack. And because when we listened to it, it was like, nah, you know what I'm saying. And this before he even know who EC was. So a month later, Sean plays another song, and when he played the song, he said, "I just want y'all to listen to it." And when he played it, the dude was on there snapping. So we like, "Who is this dude?" He said, "Remember the guy I let y'all hear about a month ago?" We said, "Yeah." He said, "That's him." And we like, "That's him." He said, "Yeah." He said, I let him hear some of y'all songs, and then next thing you know, me and him sat down and we jabbed together and this and that, and this is what he came up with. And he wanted, holler at y'all. So we said, okay, set up a meeting, met him up there. We didn't even know he was white. You know what I'm saying? That was the first thing we looked at, like, damn, this dude white? You know what I'm saying? He's snapping. So we sit down, we start, gelling and everything. And then he brought up Empire Destruction. So we was like, yeah, we used to be with them, blah, blah, blah. He said, yeah. He said, I was trying to, join them guys, but, you know what I'm saying, they told me that they don't fuck with devils.
So I was thinking, when I'm reading this, I'm thinking like, okay, cool. This was the time when everything was happening, Public Enemy. Like right. we were learning ourselves. We were studying. Like Islam is a thing for us as people in hip hop. So that was a good thing. But at the same time, we getting these messages and seeing people and being like, yeah, no, I'm not messing with them. Like, right. What if they honestly really knew the science of what was going on and allowed EC to be in Empire Destruction? That would have been crazy. Exactly. And
you hit it right on the head. That was at the time where all the gods and 5%ers, all of that was popping up. And you know what I'm saying? And that's what they started getting into. So that's how they looked at EC. We had a few guys at Ill State that was 5%ers, into that, like Determination, he was one of them guys, and Rap a Lot, he wasn't no 5%er, but Rap a Lot was deep into the Black Panthers and everything, but it wasn't to the point where if they heard somebody dope, they weren't gonna turn them back. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And, so they weren't gonna turn them back. And we was like, man, look, you can ride with us. You know what I'm saying? Because we like that song, and you know what I'm saying? You can ride with us. And ever since that day, you know what I'm saying, we all just gelled together and just made history together.
And I'm just going to add this one thing that was interesting about the Ill State Assassins and EC. For the most part, EC never really got looked at as the white dude in Ill State. He just got, like Eminem always kind of got looked at as the white dude in with all the other guys a lot. And I'm not comparing E to Eminem or any of that. I'm just stating, M's being white, he always kind of got like the white rapper Eminem. He got pushed like that a lot. EC, and it's funny because I didn't know what EC was. I couldn't tell before I knew him.
That's because he's so dope. You just didn't know.
I just didn't know what he was.
You didn't know.
Was he white? Was he Hispanic dude? Who knows? Was he mixed? Who knows what he was? And I didn't give a shit. Because he was just hip hop. He was just fucking ill, dude.
He was just hip-hop.
Exactly. And we didn't look at it that way either. You know what I'm saying? Sure. But when we saw him, we didn't expect a white guy. Because the song that Sean played, I mean, the song was called From the Get-Go. You know what I'm saying? And the dude was just on there snapping like he was already in Ill State. That's why we were surprised. Like, you talking about the dude you played the last month ago, this is him. And he was like, yeah, he said that's him.
You mean the white dude?
You know what I'm saying? Right. You know what I'm saying? And Sean ain't saying nothing about him being white or anything. He just said he want to meet y'all. You know what I'm saying? And he want to get down with Ill State, whatever. So that's why when we came and saw him, you know what I'm saying, because it was him and a couple of other guys. It was a couple of, brothers with him. So we thinking it's one of them until they turn around and like, you know what I'm saying, I'm EC. And we like, hold on. You EC? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it was like shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn.
I wish camera phones was involved back then. That would have been
right. And we started just talking about hip hop and everything, and he just showed how deep he was into hip hop. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And he was going back in the time when we was going back. So I'm really like, okay, this dude, you know what I'm saying? He hip hop and all this and all that. He ain't just trying to be no white guy trying to rap. He actually knows what he talking about. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, just hip hop, just pure hip hop. So it was like, man, it was a no brainer. Like, man, shit, EC down.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. It's another thing I wanted to ask you about. Like reading the book from a DJ's perspective, it's an interesting sight because we get as DJs we get to sit back and look at everything. So the one thing that I did read that I was interested in knowing a little bit more about was your first party with Kingdom. You were talking about how like nervous you were at the beginning, but then seeing everybody and seeing how people responded, and then noticing like different people that was important for hip hop in Chicago. Like, talk a little bit more about that because I'm truly interested.
Because well, you know what I'm saying, when I first started, I started off DJing. So, you know, when I was in the Wales and I was DJing, I never DJ outside of my room. You know what I'm saying? When I first started hip hop, I was hip hop in my room. You know what I'm saying? I DJ there and all this and all that. You know what I'm saying? Buddy. And Kingdom and them started coming secondary. You know what I'm saying? And Kingdom at that time was a well-known dude throughout Chicago. I didn't even know at the time. You know what I'm saying? Because I met him through Massive, and with him and Massive being cousins. You know, and I saw Kingdom podcast when he said that, you know, he started throwing parties with his, you know, extra check he was doing. So when he told us he was gonna throw a party and he was like, I want you to DJ, you know what I'm saying? I was like, you know, at the time I was like, all right, you know, I ain't thinking of it, thinking anything of it, but when it came to getting close to the time, that's when it all set in like, damn, man, I'm finna really get up here, you know what I'm saying? Look like these niggas in motherfucking B Street and carry records and have our shit, and the focus gonna be on me. You know what I'm saying? And that's what my mind, because I'm always been like more of I say kind of a private dude, you know what I'm saying? A little private, but I couldn't be private from that because I'm finna DJ in front of everybody. Even though these cats know me, still, if I mess up, they ain't gonna have no problem laughing and clowning me or whatever. That's all in my mind. You know, I'm setting up, and then, you know, guys coming up, Chainsaw, DJ Chainsaw, you finna snap, I know you finna wreck it, all of it. And I'm sitting there like, yeah, man, yeah, you know. So they seeing the sweat coming down my head like, man, yeah, but I finna go do the thing.
How many people you think was there?
I believe it had to be, I say it had to be between probably about between 50 to 75 at the time.
Wow, that's a Blue Gargoyle?
That's a lot of people at the
time. Yeah, at the Gargoyle. You know what I'm saying? That's why I was surprised, because I never knew it was that many guys in Chicago at that time that was into hip hop. Mm-hmm. And when I listened to HBK, I used to hear, you know, Purple Mansion up there. I used to hear all them guys. You know, I heard Common going up there playing his tapes, and you know. So when I got to actually see these guys and put, you know, faces to the lyrics, I'm like, wow, you know, they actually came out, and I know I got to impress these guys. You know, so. You know, I just got up there and I basically just tuned everybody out. I took myself into my room, to the crib back in my room when I listened to the headphones and trying to be the next Marley Marl or something, and I just started just going. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden I just picked up the Public Enemy album, and because I knew a lot of them was into it, and I started playing songs off of there, and they just started going nuts. So I grabbed the second one, and I just started mixing all the songs off of there, and everybody went nuts. Oh, he's snapping. So I said, I'll just run with that. You know what I'm saying? And then once I was finished, it was like they was just amazed, just looking at me like, wow, all of my mind is shit. I guess I snapped. You know. And then somebody else got on the turntables. I got off the turntables. They giving me dap and, you know, smiling and everything. So, yeah, I mean, you know, I'm just glad it turned out the way it did instead of turning out Chain was whack as hell when he was up there, you know.
Do you remember who else DJ with you?
Was it Cooley Mac?
No, it wasn't Cooley Mac. I'm trying to think, did Riot get on the turntables?
Uh-oh.
I'm trying to think, was it Riot? I can't remember if it was Riot, because I'm trying to remember somebody stepped up there, but I don't think it was Riot, because I don't think Riot was ready at the time. You know what I'm saying? Like I said in my book, when Riot, I first met him, you know, he lied, you know, just to get on the turntables, knowing damn well he couldn't scratch a lick. You know,
that's the vignette Midway. That's the Midway vignette for you guys too.
Right, exactly. So I don't think it was right. I really can't remember who it was, if it was Titan or who it was that day that just jumped on there after I got off. I can't really remember who.
I said Cooley because I know Cooley Mac DJ'd those parties as well.
Yeah, it could have been Cooley. It could have, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It could have been Cooley. I'm not even sure. I was just shocked that everybody liked me. And so I just remember, vaguely seeing a figure come over to the turntable, but I can't really pick out who it was.
Yeah, for sure. If you're listening, Cooley, let us know if you were the DJ after.
Cooley just wrote, he's like, no, he was in Austin. No, just kidding.
The music video for Hood Thing was an important milestone for Chicago hip hop. Much like On Ill, you guys were independent, but you're putting out a video that's as competitive as any Wu-Tang video or anything we're seeing. It's the high quality film video. It looks gritty. If you haven't seen it, go to YouTube, check it out wherever you can. If you didn't see it on the box 8,000 times when it came out, go find it somewhere on YouTube. But that's one of the truest representations of Chicago in the 90s, period.
Thank you.
What was it like making that? How did you, what was the experience making a video like that? Especially being independent. If you're on a major label, you're like, oh, we got to do a video. But you guys are pulling this off, just like EC, on a shoestring budget and making all this happen.
Exactly, and that's how it was, even though we had an investor at the time, our guy Big Ed, who was throwing money up behind us. Well, let me take that back. Yeah, Ed was the one throwing the money up behind us at that time, and we was working with this guy named Rakim. This cat who called himself Rakim, and he was doing films and everything, and he had a nice sized budget and all that. And when we did Hood Thing, it was just we just wanted to make it hip hop street. That's what we was on. You know what I'm saying? We didn't want to go all the way deep with selling drugs and running down the block shooting them all. But at the same time, we want to make sure you understand where we coming from when you hear the lyrics and you see the visual of it. So when we shot it, it wasn't even, we didn't even sit down. I don't even remember sitting down writing it out like this is what we gonna do. I just remember really winging it like, man, let's just do it. You know what I'm saying? We just found some spots and just start getting and just start shooting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, Rad made sure we found some, graffiti spots. He wasn't gonna let that ride,
Yep.
So it was just on this spot that was on Cermak and off of Cermak and Canal. And this used to be a building right there in the building where a lot of graffiti writers used to, go in, and that was one part. That's the part where you might, at the beginning, I think Toxic walking up the stairs and you can see Riot Graffiti and it's a abandoned building, and then we outside in the middle of it where them two cars is at, and we all out there, the house is there, and we just found different spots and just rocked it, and just did it because we almost didn't do Hood Thing because we went through a lot of, because we worked on that song so long, it got to the point where Riot and Toxic really didn't want to do it no more. We mixed it a million times because
you guys were like over it.
Yeah, because of the sample. You know what I'm saying? But I stuck to my guns like, no, we got to run with that, and just do it. So, that's basically how Hood Thing came together.
It's a great record.
Thank you.
Chainsaw's like, you're welcome.
I mean, that's like one of those, like the Chamber, Making Illinois, Illa LP, and then EC's EP, Resurrection. There's a good handful of about 10 or 15 records, All Natural's first record, that are like those all-time hometown classics that you can just go to and you can relate. At least if you're of a certain age. I mean, I think everybody can still relate to a lot of that stuff, but like that is what we were kind of like. That's the experience of Chicago at that time, in the mid '90s. I mean, you can now take like a chance and say like I could see like Chances 3 is now a classic. It's got a bunch of hits, greats, or even acid rap or whatever. It might be a classic to some people. I think it's a great record. That being said, it's also a record for, you know, late teens, 20-somethings.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, it's for them. I can love the record, but I don't relate to it the same way as I did that real true. And you guys, man, you guys really like Chicago hip hop. To me in that era was that perfect combination of street and boom bap. Like you had New York was boom bap,
right,
and you had the West Coast doing the gangster stuff, and even the street stuff in New York was way more kind of boom bappy. Chicago was that kind of combination of like that real gangstery stuff and that boom bap put together, even more so than like what Houston was doing. Like Scarface and the Ghetto Boys were definitely trying to do. I mean, they were not trying; they were doing something. But you guys really represented Chicago to me. I mean, I keep saying that, but I just you got to hammer it home. It's the truth.
Thank you. You know, and really that was our philosophy for us, Ill State. You know what I'm saying? Anywhere we go, we gonna represent Chicago. You know what I'm saying? No matter where we went. We went to New York, we let them know Chicago here. We went to Washington, D.C. to the hip hop conference, we let them know Chicago was here. We went down south, we let them know that. We went out west, it was just like, man, you know, we just had to let, because we went through so much, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like when we before we had started Ill State, me, Kingdom, and Riot was trying to just do it on our own and trying to get something going. And I don't know if y'all remember the cat Wayne Williams. I think that's his name, who used to be with Jive Records. You know what I'm saying? And back then, this was like the 80s, and I don't know how Kingdom got in touch with him or knew him or whatever, but Wayne Williams was running Jive of Chicago or whatever. And we presented him, and we came to him about getting on Jive, and he's like, you know what I'm saying, y'all music sound good. You know what I'm saying? Y'all music sound good, but y'all need to say y'all from New York.
Wow.
And we was like, say we from New York. And we was like, why we got to say we from New York? He said, because New York is popping right now. And y'all need to sound like y'all need to say y'all from New York instead of Chicago, because Chicago is house music and blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? So basically, we looked at him like, man, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? What are you talking about? How you sound? How we going to say we from New York and I'm going right back to the Abbey Wells in Chicago? How you sound? You know what I'm saying? So,
and that's night and day. New York and Chicago, while they're big cities, are zero alike.
Exactly. And we're not going out like that. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather go around and say Chicago without a record deal than sit here saying New York just to get a record deal, knowing damn well I don't know nothing about New York, but they know hip hop. And
just to show the history of Ill State having that sound, even before Chamber and before EC, you know, the Jack and the Blackstock EP comes out with Doc and Big Rap, and a few other people rapped on it, Massive and everybody, on Death Watch Records. That was a label right before.
Yeah, Death Watch Records.
Yeah, and now again indie, but again that while it was a little bit before, and the styles kind of like there was a big jump in style from when that came out to when you guys came out.
Right.
That being said, it was still ultra gritty. Like it was still street and gritty. I mean, from the cover to everything, it was still like, wow. It was still very Chicago and still very Ill State. I mean, from the inception of the records Ill State was creating, all the way through Traxxer stuff and everything.
Right.
It was still everything was still very, very just Ill State. And shout to Doc Ella because I think it's his birthday yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday was his birthday.
Yes, sir.
Shout to Big Rap and rest in peace, Lord Scoop.
Yeah, Lord Scoop. Yeah. Yeah. There's another one of our Ill State brothers, you know, fallen brothers.
Bless.
Yeah, it's you know, it was a honor to get to, you know, interview you and Riot together. We did, you know, obviously we did Toxic as well, but like having at least you two together to talk, the stories of Chamba, and and like you said, you can be a little bit more. You're a more quiet guy. You're a little bit more reserved. Get Riot going, and Riot's got amazing stories, man. And Riot's a good storyteller when you get him going. He's funny.
Right. Right. Yeah, but I wish we could have had, all three of us in the same room, but like a lot of things happen between, Riot and Toxic to the point where, so I'm mostly the nucleus because I'm cool with both of them.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? I still gel with Riot and I still gel with Toxic. Me and Toxic talk and me and Riot talk, and the womb is real, so I hate to say real deep, but I would love for them to, and to really break that, because we didn't been through so much with each other, and it kind of hurts when you see other groups could be able to get back together and jump on stage, you know what I'm saying? And I would love to do that with both of them, get together and just you know what? Let's go up to the Sub T, actually let us do a couple of Chamber songs just to, just to do something,
I want to hear Riot on the beat and you and Toxic rapping. I want to hear a new Chamber song one day. And I won't say, you never say never, and time heals all wounds eventually, so.
Right, exactly. So, I love them both, man. I love both of them brothers,
And if you ever do another record together, you got to go back to 3 in the Chamber.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely do that because this cat said we sold out when we took 3 when we turned to the Chamber and not 3 in the Chamber. That was just funny to me, when one day being down at Columbia College and I heard these two cats talking about hip hop and then the Chamber got brought up and the one guy said the Chamber was cold, man. Those guys, man, and dude like, man, they cold, but they some sellouts. And I was like, wow, what I'm saying? He didn't know I was part of the Chamber. I just listened to him. And then the dude was like, why they some sellouts? He was like, man, because they 3 in the Chamber. All of a sudden now they in the Chamber. Man, that's that industry BS and blah blah. I was like, wow.
They only knew. It's funny. I read that. That whole part is in your book.
Right, exactly. Back then, we was real protective of hip-hop. You know what I'm saying? Any commercialization of hip-hop, we get pissed. You know what I'm saying? Back then, because we loved it so much. And to him, taking 3 in the off, that pissed him off like the Chamber. Man, they some sellouts. I was like, wow. I said, all because we did that.
You explained why, and it does make sense. And it makes sense a lot of sense for you guys to do what you did, and who knows if you guys would have had the success you did if you didn't change it. Exactly,
true. You know what I'm saying? Because the reason, like I said, we did it was because we thought the Chamber would be easier to remember than 3 in the Chamber. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't to commercialize or pull this and pull that. I'm like, man, we a fucking independent label. We ain't got to commercialize for nobody. We do what we want to do. You know what I'm saying? But we thought, it'd be easier to remember than 3 in the Chamber. And we thought 3 in the Chamber, the name kind of ran its course, and all that. So, but it was just funny to me to hear him say that because I was just actually glad that we was even in a conversation.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
That's what made me really happy about it. Like, we was in a conversation. That's what I was really happy about.
Well, I mean, any way you cut it, people were talking about you guys. There was a huge buzz. It wasn't anything you guys were doing wrong at that time.
Probably the business part of the company, because all of us was amateurs when it came to business. When it came to the company, our investor, our investor, our business manager, we all was amateurs when it came to it. I wish we would have took more time and not just jump right into it. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to get a label going. I wish we would have actually sat back. You know what I'm saying? Read up on some things and get to know other people who started the label and, so they could give us the ins and outs of it. And we was just, just playing it by ear, and playing it by ear. You know what I'm saying? We did good things and we did some bad things, but I think the worst thing was dealing with Ichiban Records. I think that's what really caused us to fold. You know what I'm saying? Because they was they were some snakes. You know what I'm saying? They were snakes, and we didn't know at the time. Why is we paying these dudes to put us out? You know what I'm saying? We didn't know at the time. So all we know is we trying to get this album going, this single going and all this and all that, and they telling us to pay them is for them to push it or whatever, when we found out it's a different ball game, you know what I'm saying, after the fact. You know what I'm saying? So it was just those type of mistakes, amateur mistakes that we should have, thought first, you know what I'm saying?
You guys moved a lot of units that first month, right?
Yeah, we actually altogether we had moved like 93,000 units. All together, when the first month, and
damn,
Ichiban didn't want to reimburse us. You know what I'm saying, for the 93,000, trying to tell us telling the people that was running the company from what they told us, from what they told me, that the money is all tied up because I wasn't at the meeting. I had found out after the fact. That's why. Because that money was going to fund the second Chamber album, that was the whole plan. We already know this is the baby album, making Illinois, but the next album, this is where all the money going to the next album, and Ichiban didn't come off the money. They didn't come off the money, and I didn't blame my guy at the time because he was actually my guy. I brought in the investor, didn't want to keep spending money. You know what I'm saying? He didn't want to keep spending money. Even if he did have it, he didn't want to keep spending because he look, I put a lot already in this, and then these guys playing games of the money that's supposed to be ours. So I can understand him pulling back, like, I'm not going to spend no more money. And that was the end of Corner Records, and that's when everything just folded.
The last thing you guys released was the Don't Sleep Corrupted single.
Yeah, and the thing about it is we had shot a double video. We had shot a video for Don't Sleep, and we shot a video for the Corrupted. You know what I'm saying? All of that was in the process. We with the same guy, Rakim, the same guy who shot Hood Thing. He was like, man, we finna shoot 2 videos at once. And we was shooting 2 videos at once, changing clothes, doing this scene for this video. Then we'd go somewhere else, change clothes to do scenes for this video. And everything was getting mapped out. We worked on, the beats was there and everything. And
what happened to those videos?
The videos never got edited. We had got all the material, you know what I'm saying? But in the middle of doing it is when Ed pulled the plug, like, you know what I'm saying, I'm not spending no more money. So basically,
hands on that footage?
No, we didn't get all I know is Rakim got the footage, as far as I know.
Where's
you know what I'm saying? I'm looking at it as in he didn't get his full payment, so I'm not going to give up no parts of the video till I get my full payment.
Right. Sure. No,
I can't get that. I can't blame him because I can't wait too. Like I was out here filming 2 videos for y'all. You know what I'm saying? And you give me my full payment, you can have what I shot. But I'm not going to give you nothing, and you ain't fully paid me. So I can't be mad at him for that. And that's the only person I can really think of who got the footage of the videos we were shooting for Corrupted and Don't Sleep.
Where's Rakim at now?
I don't even know.
Is he on Facebook?
Don't know. I don't even know if he even go by Rakim. Ain't no telling where he at. All I know is he was from New York and he came to Chicago, and we ended up being cool.
Can you tell if his buddy's name is Eric B?
I wish it was. I wish it was, because that would be easy to catch them then, especially they just had their 30th anniversary. We could have called them right then and now.
Ryan, call Jay Williams and see if we can find out. We can track down Rakim.
Yeah, right? We need to. We need,
Did you guys were you guys recording any other material? Is there any other Chamba stuff for that second album that never came out?
No, we was just about to. We was working on all the beats for that second album. You know what I'm saying? We had Corrupted and Don't Sleep ready. You know what I'm saying? Because they was like, we gotta have the singles ready, so that's what we was gonna run with. He was like, we gotta knock those videos out, but at the same time, we was working on beats for the new album. You know what I'm saying? Right? Me, Ryan, and Toxic, and Toxic started making beats. So they was him and Ryan was really coming with most of the beats, and I just started writing. You know what I'm saying? They were just like, get your writing on. And we was coming up with concepts and everything, but we never got to the studio to lay any of it. You know what I'm saying? And we had, I'll say we was probably about 12 to 15 beats deep into the second album that we wanted to work on. You know what I'm saying? And probably about 9 of them beats we already knew off top. We running with those for the second album.
Wow.
So yeah, you know, I really wish we could have completed that second album, because the way we was thinking, I already knew this was going to be that album. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like Making Illinois was our baby, but we was like, this album here is going to crush Making Illinois. We had it. We already knew it in our minds, but you know, Ichiban did what they did, and everything just folded.
Well, everybody went on to do some good stuff. Obviously, Toxic went on to produce a lot of stuff for Twista with Legit Ball in it. Had a lot of success. I actually recently worked with him on his solo record, or one of his solo records. Riot's producing and has his label, and just put out a really dope song.
Right.
And you just authored a book.
Yeah.
Right.
You authored a book.
Yeah. That's heavy.
That's some grown man shit. They talk about.
I know.
You authored a fucking book.
Like, you know, Chain was sitting somewhere and he was like, "What has no one done yet?" A book. Let's write a book.
So aside from books and in your blog, what and just writing in general, what else are you working on?
Actually, you know what I'm saying, I've been keeping it undercover, but I've been writing an Ill State movie.
Come on, son.
Yeah, I have. I've been writing that. I've been writing it, you know.
Please tell me it's going to be in 3D.
I don't know how much 3D you want with this movie.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Oh, know something we don't know.
Oh my god, that's unreal. Well, some of those stories, you know, they read like a movie, so that's why it was very, you know, it was like a narration sometimes where it was just so captivating.
But some of the stuff that I wrote in the movies is not even in the book. You know what I'm saying? Nice. And that's how I want it. You know what I'm saying? Some of the book is in there because it was major at the time. But a lot of this stuff, you know what I'm saying, really it's going to be, the movie going to be, like, again, coincide around me. You know what I'm saying? And I've been writing the book, writing the movie, and I've been talking to somebody on the side that's gonna trying to help me get it financed, you know. So I never wanted to speak on it prematurely, you know what I'm saying, because I don't want nobody thinking, man, this is gonna come out next year and all this and all that. Like, you know what I'm saying, you know, pump your brakes. I'm trying to do it the right way. You know?
Yeah, you're preaching to the choir on that.
Exactly.
We understand.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know exactly how, like, you know what I'm saying? Just slow up. It's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Believe me, you're going to catch it before you're going to leave this earth. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I've basically been doing. You know what I'm saying? Going to put out the next book. You know what I'm saying? Do some book shows and stuff like that. Right on this Ill State movie and everything. Because, like you said, how I wrote it, and a couple of people told me that, you know, and these from people that don't even know me who end up buying my book. You know what I'm saying? And they inboxed and said, I'm reading this book like it's a movie. You know what I'm saying? And I said, you know what? Let me just start working on that. You know what I'm saying? So I just started writing on it. You know what I'm saying?
It's a movie it is.
Yeah, start writing on it and everything.
Yeah, that's a good comment there. What obviously there's going to be support from all of us in the Chicago hip hop community, everything like that. But what has been the support of what from other people just who maybe just picked it up because the cover looked cool or something like that? Like what has been, have you for people reading the book that are not embedded in the hip hop culture?
You know what? Like I said, that's from the people who had inboxed me at times and sent me emails who had purchased the book, and they don't really know nothing about it. They saw me promoting it, this and that, and they like to read. You know what I'm saying? Them, it was something different for them. You know what I'm saying? It was like, you know, never heard of you guys or whatever, this and that. But from reading this book, I wish I would have heard it. I wish I would have known you guys back then, because I was into the so-called hip hop back then. You know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't no hip hop head, but it was better back then. And I believe, for what you're saying, y'all fit right in with what was going on back then. And I know I would have loved what y'all was doing. Everything. So hopefully, writing this movie and getting it together and you know what I'm saying, getting it out there and everything, they could get the real visual of it and everything. And then they could really see, like, wow, you know what I'm saying, they was doing what they was doing back then. So
what actor is going to play what member of Ill State?
I didn't I didn't get that far yet.
That's a good question.
I didn't get that far yet.
Who plays Shane?
Yeah.
Like Denzel.
You gotta call dibs. You gotta call dibs on Denzel or something real quick.
That's right.
We gotta put it on paper.
No, I'm about to have Denzel play the father. He's too old now to play me on that part.
That's true.
You gotta play young Shane. So I might have to I don't know the guy's name, but the guy that's on Queen Sugar that's getting his name out there now, the one who play on there, one of the main characters, I'll probably gonna have to hit that brother.
We'll see what we can do on our end. Good times.
You guys, are is it time for this or that?
Yes, sir.
Hold up. We gotta do this right.
Uh-oh. It's time for this or that.
Risky, kick it off.
So Shane, basically this or that is what it is. I'm gonna ask you a question and you're gonna tell me which one you choose, which one you prefer. And hold on, let me pull it up. Okay, so since you were part of Empire Destruction and Ill State and Shyrock, you guys are part of many massive crews. I'm going to ask you about a West Coast crew and an East Coast crew. Okay. So Wu-Tang or NWA and like that whole connection, the NWA family.
Well, I've been told that from a few people, if I wasn't born in Chicago, they said I'd have been born on the West Coast, hanging out with Dub C and all.
Yeah, I believe it.
They said I would have been like Corrupt Files on the lyric side, but they said you'd have been hanging out west with Dub C and all of them. So I had to say NWA.
All right. All right.
When it comes to writing, books, blogs, or raps?
I'll say raps. I always love raps. I'll always like to make people think, visualize what I'm saying. Even though books is the same way, it's just something about rapping and being on that beat is just a whole different feel.
Okay. Do you got one, Sean?
I think I would go with DJing in the crib or DJing in front of people.
Or biting your hands when you're trying to play records.
I'll say DJing in front of people.
For sure.
DJing in front of people.
You got one, Carlos?
No, I've been knee deep in a little project.
No worries.
Nice.
I got one more. So since you've now authored a book here and you're a book reader, the way you receive books. Now I like to physically hold books. So do you like physical books or digital Kindle style?
Physical books. I always like physical books. I like that. Just holding it and it's just something about it.
Right there. That's one of the best parts, the spine right there.
Right. Mm-hmm. Just holding it, I like that better than just downloading and flipping on a Kindle thing, whatever,
No, I feel really like
Even though your book is available on Kindle, we're going to go ahead and put that out there.
Right.
We got this book available to hold however the hell you want to hold it.
I'm really proud of you as a Chicago MC and a part of the community, and you put something out in the world representing your history and Chicago hip hop history, and it's really important. And I'm really I look at my shelf, and it's not loaded yet, but there's 2 books of Chicago MCs that have authored their story, and I hope to see that filled one day. But it really gets me excited to be able to say that there's books on my shelf that that are part of Chicago hip hop history.
Thanks, and and the reason I like the physical aspect of the book is because if somebody come over and see it, and you able to explain to them, this book right here, man, hold this book and check it out. You know what I'm saying? Compared to a Kindle where you ain't finna get nobody a Kindle So it's best. It's just like having an album, or Cradle Records or whatever. It's easier, here, take this record and all that. So I like that better.
But physical is tangible. It's real. It's something out there. Even though you did write it and Kindle is something that's out there, it's still not really out there. It's not real in the sense of being a physical, tangible hold something. And,
right.
Having CDs or records or tapes still is a little bit more special than just, it's convenient to have Spotify and streaming and all that. It's great, and that's how the industry is. But there is still something very special about holding something physical, and a book is included in that.
Exactly. So it's always a conversation piece. Throw it on the table. People come in and see it. You don't want to sit there with your Kindle book all open. You want a physical book laying right there.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So, as we kind of wind down here a little bit,
okay.
Just wanted to say, so when people, if they are looking for you online, where can they find you? Where can they purchase the book? What all that fun information?
Okay, you can find me at www.jwriceser.com. That's my website. That's where you can see my blogs. You can also purchase the book off of there. It'll take you to Amazon. But you can also purchase at Amazon Kindle, and also at the Book Patch. You can also purchase it there.
Awesome. Everybody should check that out.
And if you see me on the street, I'll be having physical copies with me, and you can purchase it right then and there. And you can get it autographed.
out the trunk. Out the trunk.
Nice.
Do you feel a little bit like this book is, you're pushing this book like you would like mixtapes and stuff?
Yeah.
Is there a similarity to that?
Yeah. Cause it's all hip hop, man. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Hip hop, love hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Eat, sleep, drink hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Miss the 90s. Wish the 90s could come back. But you know what I'm saying? Anytime somebody want to, take a trip back to the 90s, they can just pull the book out. You know what I'm saying? Have them a little drink, a little smoke, and just go back to the days of the 90s. Even if this takes them to where they was at in the 90s and they start thinking about what they was doing in the 90s. I love that too.
Nice. I want to say next week we're going to have on one of the founders of Chiraq Nation, Artistic, is going to be with us.
Yeah, that's my guy. That's my guy.
So a lot of history there, and I'm sure we'll get into some of the new things that are happening with Chiraq, because I know they're trying to reorganize some stuff. So we'll get into that for sure. But till then, Risky, where can people find you?
At DJ Risky Biz on Twitter, and then Instagram is DJ Risky Biz, or actually, what is Instagram? Hold on. I'll tell you 1 second because I don't remember it. I do this every week. What is my Instagram? DJ Risky Biz 1975. and DJ RISKYBIZ1975, and then Chad Sorensen is the name on Facebook if you want to reach out. But if you hit me up on Facebook, I usually don't accept friend requests unless it's like we've got like 20 mutual friends.
Which is a trick question because Risky only has 3 friends.
It's a lonely life.
Sean Doe, where can people find you?
They can find me at DJ Sean Doe on Instagram, DJ Sean Doe, DJ SEANDOE on Twitter, and under Rasan Sean Doe Hawkins on Facebook.
And Mr. Carlos Gomez.
Before I get into that, I wanted to do like this.
Gangster.
Yeah,
Nice.
got a little marketing material for you.
Yeah, I likes that. I likes that.
Yes.
I likes that.
So
That's dope.
we're gonna tell people about this book.
That's crazy because it's the actual book. Look at that.
That's dope as hell. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Gotta tell people.
And young Carlos did that live while we were talking.
Screw my ass off, boy. I was like, this is that. I'll get back to you.
I love it. That's hot. I love it.
Yeah, I'll send it to you after I finish.
All right, I appreciate it, brother.
Oh,
Nice, nice.
That's gonna be his profile pic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With that being said, you will be able to see that photo and a link to that book if you follow Coconut Justice. CoconutJustice.com, Coconut Justice everywhere else.
That's what's up.
There you go. And you can find me at 278 Media on Twitter and Instagram. The number is 278 Media. And I want to give a couple shout outs to Ski from Blase Blah checking in. Riot was watching us, says it was a great interview. What's up, Riot?
Awesome. We got to get Riot on. I swear to God, Riot's hysterical. He's going to be great.
Yes,
Is Riot a riot?
What's that? He's a regular Riot.
Riot?
Regular Riot.
And as usual, music is provided. Our intro music is provided by Doug Infinite and High Power Studios. Thanks to those guys. Our sponsor, Shure Microphones. So thank you to Shure for providing us with some microphones on their Motive line to check out for our show. So check them out at shure.com, SHURE.com.
Sure.
Yeah, there you go. Midway, check us out. Sure. Midway, if you're not following us, follow us, tweet us, all that fun stuff. Midway Doc on YouTube, or Midway Doc on Twitter, Midway Doc on Instagram, Midway Documentary on Facebook, and Midway Documentary Shy on YouTube. So until then, till next week when we get back with Artistic, I'm going to say peace. That's all I got, guys.
Yeah.
Drop the mic. Drop the Shure mic.
Shane, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us and
yeah, son.
through this craziness.
Oh, no problem, man. I appreciate y'all having me on, man. I really do. I really appreciate y'all having me on.
Cool. All right, everybody. Till next week. We'll catch you later. Peace.
Word up.